ఇది
Hello. Hello, Shaukat sir, can you hear me? Hello. Okay. Okay, sir. Okay.
Sweta madam, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Very good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
I think, are you able to see me, or still my camera is not okay?
So it is blur, sir. The camera is blur.
Okay, let me then switch off the camera. I think some problem with that. I need to rectify it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so maybe I will wait for another couple of minutes and then we'll start.
Yes, sir.
Or is everybody in?
They are joining, sir. Another.
Just wait for me.
Yeah.
I will wait for 2 minutes.
Okay, sir.
So very good afternoon. So can we start now, or should I wait for another 1 minute? Hello, student.
Hello,
Yes.
sir. Actually, computers.
Okay, so can we start?
Yes, sir, we can start.
Okay,
People
great.
are just stepping in. In a minute, they will be here. They're already back. Went to fetch water. They'll be back in a minute, less than a minute. They'll be
Okay.
less than a minute. They went out to fetch water. Yeah. Please
Okay,
come.
let me share my screen.
Yes, sir.
And please let me know once you're able to see my screen.
Sure, sir.
Okay, great. So first of all, while the others are joining, I'll just take you through what high level what we discussed, right, last time. And then we'll walk through basically the new content. And as we go through, I will always want it to be more interactive. And whatever questions you have, please ask your questions in between. Now, I have already talked to you why IoT and AI is required and important, because it has got a lot of implication on the industry. And as you can in the previous class also, you have seen various multiple examples I have provided and how it is impacting our day-to-day life also, right? So as it connect with your mobile, laptop, to all other electronic items and devices, and creating a congenial life to you, right? For example, using your own mobile phone, you can basically start your TV, you can use your mobile phone to open your fridge, or you can open your AC and close your AC. So everything you can do using one single device, right? So this is also happening and helping in the convergence of technologies that is also happening. So now I move on to industrial application. I have walked you through and provide you a number of examples. So I'm not going line by line in the slide. Just trying to say what are the things we have covered last time. Now, some questions last time were on the security and the privacy risk. As you know, the IoT or AI or machine learning, if it is on cloud, a lot of security risk is also there. And we need to work on those areas and to ensure that those security are basically taken care of. Otherwise, whatever the hard work we are doing, it will go to our wrong hands. Of course, I will talk to you on the ethical hacking and more on cloud security and this thing on my later slides. Once we walk through in my also on the classes that I'm going to take up later on, right? So, as you know, in Europe, there are GDPR. You cannot go and provide your data or some of the information outside the Europe. So you have, so similarly, multiple countries has got multiple data privacy policy or security policy. You need to add it to that. Not only the whatever the internet, basically, if you go, for example, I think most of you have got an account on Facebook, Instagram, right? Hello, student. Yes or no? Hello. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
So, aren't there is a privacy policy there? Have you checked that? When you go to any of those social media, is that privacy policy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
They are,
Yeah, and you need to also tick some of the privacy policy, whether you added to that or basically how much of your information you want to make it public, right? As you know, there are basically identity theft already has happened in multiple cases. In one of the social media, as you know, WhatsApp and Facebook, already they have gone through multiple such cases is going on where the identity theft already has happened. Similarly, in a lot of banking or basically kind of social media where maybe knowingly or unknowingly already your identity theft has happened. And that if it goes to the wrong hand, they can have all the information. For example, if your banking transaction is happening, now from the bank, if they can get all the informations of your banking activities, that can be used into multiple wrong usage, right? So can you give me one example, anybody you faced on this, some kind of a security areas, if it is not done properly, and anybody you have faced any problem in your life till now? Or you know something that has basically, that is in your knowledge has happened?
No, sir, we don't know.
Yes, sir, I can answer on that.
Your name, please?
Yeah, one of my friends, I think she had gone for some loan or something. What they had done is they had taken the complete details of her contact list and all, and they had sent the WhatsApp message to everyone. Like, this is the person, she had taken the loan amount and all those things they had mentioned, and they had sent to all the contacts, sir, all of her contacts.
Your name, please?
Sorry, sir.
Your name?
Shweta, sir, from Kyon.
Thank you, Seta. So,
Thank you, sir.
yeah, so in fact, as you can see, this is basically kind of information. Of course, with this information in her social media or this thing, maybe she faced some embarrassment about questions that she has taken. But think of an example, right? Once somebody's basically identity is without the knowledge also, and if the banking information is known, and they did some transactions. In fact, it happened to one of my good friend. He was on a tour to Brazil, and from his Brazil, what happened? His card was taken, right? And before he could go to the hotel and this thing, already there were 8 transactions and almost $40,000 from his account was already gone. Now, people can also, for example, get a lot of information. For example, if you go to an ATM, if you do not basically cover your ATM pin and somebody sees from the back, or and there are also a lot of, if you go to YouTube, you will find a lot of basically how the thieves steal the basically ATM pin and this thing, and they can use it and withdraw the money from your account. For example, if you are working in a company or you have got your own entrepreneurship, right? Your own company, maybe you are having some patent or you have got some files which are quite basically confidential. If somebody can access to that, right, and get those information out in the market, it will be absolutely quite harmful to your organization and to you also. So you can understand the security and also the risk is quite high on this. I can give you example of a toy, right? It was happened in Europe, basically a doll, and the doll was able to talk, and also basically with that doll using that IoT, right? It got a chip, and it basically can answer based on the some kind of an artificial intelligence built into it. Ultimately, what has happened? It basically hacked into somebody your Wi-Fi, and from your Wi-Fi, whatever all the IoT devices were there, he was able to all the devices the thief could basically, or the people who were working on this, right? They could get an access. Not only that, that also got access to the web cameras in around. So you can understand that if they want to go to wrong hands, how harmful it can be. In fact, in European countries, a lot of securities are also basically on the digital and IoT. So maybe from maybe 1 kilometer away, you can open your garage using the IoT device. And similarly, if those goes to the wrongful hands, they can open any door or any locks, and basically using this technology, right? Getting your identity and also the information. And they can basically come to your house, rob your house, and get all your valuable information that is both physical and basically also that is stored in the cloud. Similarly, all your confidential data. So this is what is most important thing, and that is why it is always there are a lot of security work is required. So you can see a lot of scope for all of you is there. Whoever is interested in this, that is basically in case of the security in the internet, into the cloud and areas, there are a lot of scope for you. And also there are also a lot of scope that is coming up in the ethical hacking, that if a device has been created, for example, the doll I was talking about, right? Now, some similar kind of a product, there are basically professionals who work on check that using those kind of devices or this thing, people may not be easily able to hack into those and get the information. So a lot of work and research also goes into that, also in the prevention of basically hacking of those systems. So these are another new kind of areas or the trends that is coming up in the market, where as a people like you, there will be huge demand that is going to come up, right? So I just wanted to walk you through some of the areas where I see and potentially there are a lot of demands and scope that are going to come up. It is up to you, which is basically your future you want to build, right? Somebody may be interested in the ethical hacking, some may be interested in creating an IoT device, somebody may be looking into how to basically provide security to that, somebody may be thinking of doing how the algorithm for the machine learning. So there are a lot of scope and for everybody that is there. So whatever you prefer or whatever you basically like, you can think and work on those, right? Next, some of the areas, as you can see here, which I mentioned also about the internet connected, right? So these are some of the computer control devices, such as automobiles, such as brakes, engine locks, trunk. All those things are basically, if it is controlled by IoT or some devices, if somebody have a control on those, right, then it became a disaster. So all those things need to be prevented. For example, you think of a Tesla car. Now, there is a driverless car, right? Now, if somebody able to hack into that system, it can create havoc. It can run over the people. It can do anything, right? So you can understand how important about the security of any device that need to be done. And also, as somebody mentioned about the privacy, some information that you are keeping or providing, whether it's in the cloud or if you give it to some trusted party, you need to, your privacy or your identity need to be safeguarded, right? Otherwise, if it is leaked or this thing, it can be quite harmful. Any question till now?
No, sir.
I hope these are quite interesting to you, because maybe you are not aware these are the things that is happening around you, but you have to be very, 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 very careful, right? Because you are stepping into basically a competitive world where nobody is going to guide you and tell you. You have to be on your own, stand on your own, and basically face all the challenges, right? So whenever in the case of you are going to start working, you need to aware what are the things that basically are allowed. For example, any company or offices, you should not give your ID card to anybody to allow them to enter the office. They have to, for example, register into the security, get a gate pass, and then they should enter. Because those are also treated as basically infringement, right? Because you can allow anybody into your friends or relatives or somebody, unknown people inside the complex, because those are secured offices, right? Where the data and everything is secured. So similarly, these are some of the important things you need to understand when you start going to work, that a lot of things need to be taken care. Next, I come into the energy management. And as you know, the energy nowadays is very, very important, right? So in the last class, I have talked about the significance on the energy management, right? How basically using the IoT, how basically using basically artificial intelligence also, right? We can remotely control some of the street lights. I will of course take you through a case study also. That's what I prepared, and I will take you through, which you can control, and you can basically save your energy bills also. In the last class, I've talked about basically how the energy rates are different in different part of the days, right? So if it is the energy rate or the electricity bill rate is lower in the night, and if you want to run your basically washing machine, right, then you can basically do an basically using your IoT and the artificial IoT. What you can do, you can set up when the electricity is lower in the night time, the machine or the washing machine can be run automatically, right? So this is basically some of the, as you know, important things that can be done where, just 1 minute, please. Next, for example, in case of the smart metering that has also come, where basically the meters take into account whenever there is any electricity that you're consuming, it will charge that. Next is basically how this is done. Have you heard of SCADA systems? A student? Okay. SCADA is basically kind of a system like in NTPC or multiple Indian companies. If it is basically you have the infrastructure at place, maybe kind of a dense forest, right? Or basically into inhabited places, you have those power stations or basically transformers. Now you can basically use kind of you can check whether any part of this getting any repair need to be done, or for the predictive analysis or preventive maintenance, if those number of hours has already been consumed, or taking to the health of those, right? You can basically help to get it, provide basically repair based on those, or maybe you can shut down that basically for the time being, so that it doesn't hamper the overall electricity basically transfer, and there is no outage in that area. So using a remote control basically station, right, those all the infrastructure can be managed. Now, if you have anybody have been, for example, working, or some of you, right, sometimes what happens, if you are having a laptop from HP or Dell, they sometimes also wanted to do a diagnosis. They will be doing those from basically somewhere in the backend, and will come and log in into a system and will rectify. If somebody of you work in an organization, right, the IT department will be sitting somewhere, they will just come and log in into a machine and do the patch upgrade, right? So this is how currently it is done. So the whole infrastructure currently is managed maybe from some different places using the connectivity. So this is also basically some of the examples where, as a IoT, simple examples I'm giving that you can think of. See, whatever I'm talking and you're listening also, this is also enabling through an IoT. And this is basically how the future of IoT using the machine learning. As you can see, everything is getting connected, right? From the data centers using the handset or the desktop, and wherever, if you, for example, if you use Ola and Uber. So how many of you are using Ola and Uber? Are you using anybody Ola and Uber or app to call your taxi?
Yes, sir. We use.
So that
Yes,
how
sir.
it
Yes,
is
sir.
done. It is done using an IoT, right?
Yes, sir.
So from your mobile, you can basically, the cab nearby, it goes to the center, and then they basically communicate to the cab that this is the passenger, it is there, who has asked for from this to this distance. And what happens? The cab comes to your place, again, using what? Some kind of a Google map or something, right? So all that is convergent into the small app. Yes or no?
Last time I just.
Right? So this
Yes.
is how basically using the IoT and machine learning, it works. Now, coming to the future of IoT using the machine learning, right? Now, machine learning is a very, very important thing, right? We have to make all our machines, right, more smart, right? So the Internet of Things, right, it generates massive volumes of data, billions and billions of data that is produced, right? And what does the machine learning helps to analyze those data, identify the data, the patterns. Now, for example, if it is a kind of I was giving, I think last time also I told you an example where you can do kind of a weather forecasting, or for example, a person during seeing his what are the kind of his blood pressure, or depending upon his all other how much work he is doing or exercise he is doing, or the food habits he's having or eating, if you fit those data, right? Or the pulse rate, based on that, he can predict whether the person is going to have a heart problem or kind of problem is there or not. So that the person can go to the hospital and do a checkup before anything, basically, he gets into more like a heart attack or anything, right? So it's kind of a preventive action can be taken. Next is that using the machine learning, you can also build an algorithm, and you can basically help in a lot of basically work that can be done with the human touch is also not required, right? So these are some of the most important thing where basically the IoT is getting into more onto the machine learning and becoming more smarter and smarter day by day, right? So any question?
No, sir.
Then basically artificial intelligence and IoT, right? So all the connected basically sensors that make the Internet of Things are like bodies that provide raw data of what's going on in the world, right? It is like a brain, right? That basically sense of the data and decide what action to be performed. So as you can see, this is like a brain, right? Using the IoT, then artificial intelligence comes in and helps. Basically, human touch is also not required. What is action need to be done? Now, if you can think of basically what we're talking about, Tesla car, right? But since you are more basically having knowledge of a driverless car, or basically now they're trying to get into drones, right? The drones goes up and on its own comes and land. Now, how it is done? It is a different terrains are there, right? Because it has been built into artificial intelligence. So he knows if this is a rocky soil, I have to land like this. If it is a sand, I have to land like this. Or if it is basically kind of a slope, I have to land like this. So based on the kind of a terrain, the drone will come and land. Similarly, there are areas, right? For example, if you take for a Tesla car, depending upon the traffic that you are having, depending upon how much the distance the other car is from there, or depending upon whether it's a cycle or a bike, depending, then it will calculate the basically speed of that, and depending on that, it will move, right? And keep the distance. So these all are done using the artificial intelligence. Right? So next, the most important is that the machine learning and deep learning require massive amounts of data to work, right? That is why you are seeing huge, basically data centers are keep on building in multiple places around the world, right? So because you need billions and billions of sensors, which are providing huge amount of data need to be fed into those data centers, right? Now, here also you can see a huge opportunity for you. Now, one is managing those data centers. Then is also those huge number of sensors and connectors that need to be done. So networking is another area. Managing the infrastructure is another area, with having machine learning and artificial intelligence built into that, so that less human touch is required. But to do that, you require brains and you require engineers to do that, and where also you can be a perfect fit, right? So as you can see, there is a huge and enormous scope for all of you, right, in this world. And sky is not even the limit. Who knows? In fact, when I was in the childhood, right, those days, using a mobile, right, to do so many things, nobody thought. Only basically mobile was talking to people. Now, as you can see, the mobile is used for so many things, and where the convergence of technology is already coming. Like already the digital camera is gone. Now the mobile with the camera that is built in, we are already using it for photography, right? And scanning, sending it the information. So scanner is also gone. The mobile, the scanner, smart scanners has already come. Using the mobile phone, we are scanning the things, right? And using that, we are sending it to one place to another. Are you with me? Any question? Student?
No, sir.
Okay. Now coming to agriculture, right? So I know most of you are in the agriculture. So in case of agriculture, depending upon the temperature, rainfall, humidity, and speed of the wind, you can determine your basically how much of fertilizer you need to, how much of water you have to give, right? Depending upon your soil content. Now, just think of a technology. I think most of you are using sprinklers in your field, maybe. Now, the sprinkler, the technology that is provided by the Israeli company, if you know about that. These are smart sprinklers based on the moisture, depending upon the how much rainfall it will happen, or which part of the soil has got less water. Automatically, the sprinklers using the kind of a IoT, it can sprinkle water into that part of the soil. And in fact, also, for example, it is 3 feet, 6 feet, or 9 feet, or 12 feet, how much of water it need to throw, that all are basically calculated into those printers. So these are the smart sprinklers that Israelis has already helped India in providing us in the farming. And that has also helped us in boost our farming products, right? So next is basically, I have given you basically assignments. And of course, tomorrow, I want all of you to walk me through your assignments you have to present to me. So I'm not going to go through, basically already I provide you multiple such things, but I will take you one case study. And if you have got any question, you can ask me, right? So let me go and show you one case study on the smart irrigation system, right? To improve the kiwi production in Italy. So what they have done is the wireless sensors network, right? They have created because they want to have a low maintenance of the whole farming. They want to also reduce their operating cost, right? So with this sense, they have created multiple sensors, and with these sensors, what they're trying to do is that
sorry to interrupt you, sir. Sir, we're not able to see your screen, sir. Sir?
Not able to see my screen. Just 1 minute. Let me just
okay,
check.
sir. Okay, sir.
Let me share it again. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, please let me know if you are not able to see my screen. Please are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir. Now we are able to see your screen, sir.
Yeah, please let me know,
Thank-
because otherwise, if
Yeah.
you're not able to see my screen, I was showing my screen only, walk you through. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now,
We are able to see now, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
anyway, I plan to come to some of your basically areas. Me and Sarit sir will come maybe in the month of September. That's what we are planning. Let me make it full screen so that all of you can, and I have to get it down, right? So let me know, right? Are you able to see my screen, right? So anyway,
Sir.
I have to walk you through these slides. So this is just to let you know, this is security and privacy risk. I think I walk you to the industrial application of IoT, then security and privacy risk, then talked about this, then infrastructure and applications, and then basically how the Internet of Things currently are doing, right? Then future of IoT using the machine learning, then AI and IoT, and then basically the industrial application in agriculture, because I've given you an assignment and I want all of you to present me. And of course, based on that, you will get also some kind of a rating, so which will help you in your course also. Right. And I will also request the second line professor, other professors also, to just to take care that all of you are presenting your assignments tomorrow. Now, coming to this, the farmers can now monitor the soil temperature and moisture from a far distance, right? They don't have to go to the basically agricultural land. For example, some of you have got agricultural land in different places, right? Maybe one is 10 kilometers from your home, another maybe 5 kilometers, another can be 2 kilometers. Every day you cannot go and check all your land, right? Now, using the sensors, you can check it. Now, in this case of kiwi, right, I will just, what was happening is that they are also the kiwi fruit, they had to be particular dimension, and also whether it is, what condition it is. Based on that, the pricing also they will get. Now, the sensors can help them when they have to basically come and harvest it also. So if you do a harvesting at the correct time, you will get a better price, right? So based on this, so you need to also check whether they're getting proper water, whether any pesticides is any pests are coming, then you have to provide proper pesticide, and it should not be more, right? If you water the plant more, your harvest will come down. You will not have a basically good fruit. The kiwi will not have a good kiwi also, right? So depending all of this, you need to basically monitor your basically harvest. Are you with me? Now, this is basically name of the company is Famosa. That is an Italian company, right? They were doing it. And as you can see, this is a live case study, which actually it has happened. So around the world. So this Italian company, what they were doing, they were basically offering a solution for crop monitoring and management, right? Now, if you have got proper basically fruits, as you can see here, proper fruit dimensions and senses, then basically you will get a good price. If you, anybody like kiwi has purchased kiwi fruits? Hello, students? Have you purchased kiwi fruit? Have you taken?
Yes, sir.
You will find it more or less in the same dimension, right? It's when
Yes,
you buy
sir.
it, right? So
Yeah.
this is one of the most important thing that they try to monitor and see that the dimensions are okay, because otherwise during the packing and this thing, what will happen if it is one is very large, one is very small, then there is also, of course, here I'm not talking about the marketing or basically this thing. Generally, the appealing or branding of any product is very, very important. Now, if you do not have a standardization of your product, then your market value also comes down. So why we go to a branded shop, right, and buy things? For example, you go and buy a Nike or Puma or Adidas shoes because you know you will get a quality, right? You have got burgers. So many shops sells burgers, right? And maybe some burgers are better than what is the McDonald's. But why we go to McDonald's? We know It gives you standard and basically burger, right? And that is why people go to that. And that is the image or branding they have created. Okay. Now, this is basically an example how it functions, just for you to see. And if you have any question, you can ask me. So you can see there are sensors depending upon basically the dimension of the fruit, depending upon how much of soil content, water content in the soil or weather. All those things are predicted. Based on that, the water is given, the pesticide is given, fertilizer is given, so that they get the proper fruit, right? Standard food, what is required, so that they get a good, basically, revenue for the farming. Any question till now? This is a live example and case study I'm giving you. Can I move on to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
So as you can see, when you're going to provide me an assignment tomorrow, I want you to do out-of-box thinking, think through, provide in a PPT slides how you want to do, and you have to present it also. Okay. Now I'm coming to another example. This is basically in Greece. Greece is basically a small country on Europe. Now, as you know, Patras is basically the third largest city in the Greece, and it's in the western part of Greece. Well, Greece is a very beautiful country, and if you go there, you will see the sea beaches and the tourist attraction is very, very good, right? So a lot of people also go and visit Greece because it's very, very nice place to visit also. So what they wanted to do, they wanted to have a smart city hub located in the Patras Science Park, right? So for this, they wanted to create kind of a smart parking and smart lighting. So what is smart parking? The smart parking, it is based on, for example, if you come to Bangalore, right? If you go to MG Road or Commercial Street, you will find it very difficult to get a parking, right? Because most of the car is already parked and the road is also very, very busy. So you don't get a parking. And if you keep your car here and there, what will happen? The police will come, tag your car and they take you to the police station, right? And of course, after that, you have to go to the police station and give fine. And then, of course, you will not have a car for that day. So it's a lot of inconvenience is provided to you. Or otherwise, you have to circle around the parking area till you get a proper parking. Now, if basically the technology is there, right? If for a smart parking, now based on this, it can find out. Hello, is anybody want to say something? Any question, please? I'll just hold for a minute, no problem. And please ask questions, right? Otherwise, I will not be knowing. And also, if you are not able to see, please let me know. Like initial, I was talking and you were not able to see the screen because I was not aware that you were not able to see the screen. So just let me know once you're all okay, I can again start. Can I start now?
Yes, sir. You can start, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hope it is interesting to you. Any question?
No, sir.
So these are all live examples I'm giving about the case studies that is around the world. And as you know, I've also been traveling a lot, right? This day, so that's why last week I could not able to basically take your class. I was traveling abroad, right? So now I also basically, whenever I go there, I see a lot of smart things they have developed. I think those are some of the good things, whatever it is there, we can also bring it to India, right? So those are the things, if we do, of course, our life also will be much, much better. Now, coming to this. Now, if you see in case of maybe busy streets, what happens? You don't have a proper parking. Now, if there is an IoT app, it is developed and it can find out basically those areas in the parking, right? Where you got a car can be parked. Automatically, it shows in a screen and tells you this is where you can park your car. What will happen? then basically the people who are driving the car nearby can come and park the car there. And automatically, once the slot is full, it will basically going off from your what happened from your monitor, right? That is displayed. So nobody has to go and just try and check where is the car parking, and there is basically traffic jam and people going round and round. So if there is no car parking, he can either park a little far off, or he can basically go to another place to do his or her shopping. Any question? You can read it. You can see there's a sensors embedded into the street under the parking spaces, right? And based on this, it provides into the Deutsche Telekom core network. And based on that, what happens? It gets populated, right? And it gets into, I'm not going to the technical thing because you're all smart guys. So you know how to do it. So just give you about what are some of the test cases and around the world that are applicable, so that you can understand how IoT or artificial machine learning can be very, very important in our day-to-day life, right? Now I come to the smart lighting. Now, as you know, regarding the lighting, also electricity get consumed. Now, unnecessary in the daytime, if there is a street light, it is on, it will not help, right? Similarly, if there is nobody in that street, if somebody with that whole night the light is on, again is a wastage of light. So if any car is coming or a pedestrian is coming to that area, the light can go off immediately, and then basically there is light, and once the person or the car passed away that area, light can be switched off. So this is basically another way the smart lighting can be done using again the IoT sensors based on the approach of the people or approach of the car. That can be done. For the people or the car, you will see always there is a light, but for the area, they can save enormous number of energy around the world. So how it is done? Using a single network, right? It is basically telecom operator in the Deutsche Telekom. So they can provide the both using the IoT, they can capture the information and send it to the telecom operator, and based on that, they can basically use the monitor to display the car parking. And similarly for the lighting, using the sensors, they can basically find it out if there's a no car or this approach, and they can basically control the lighting of the streets, right? Any question?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Now, let me just take you about our geopolitics, what is happening around us also. Okay, let me, so this is basically, this happens, help you into the, both the service, that is improve the city environment. So you will have people, we can also, for example, if you have got a smart city like this, right, you will also love to go to those places, do the shopping and this thing, where you have the parking, you get a parking, available. And similarly, your street lights also, you always get a light, and with a less consumption of energy, that is done. Now, coming to this, what is happening around the world? Now, if you see, for example, in case of the oil prices is going up, the energy prices is going up around the world. So there is always a chance, an area where one need to think through how we can save our global, basically energy, and in turn save cost. For example, India basically import around 85% of the crude requirement from outside. So you can think through that how much of India's forex exchange is going outside India in buying only the crude, right? Similarly, other energy products like basically coal or LNG, India imports a good amount of that from around the world. Now, if you see regarding this Russia and Ukraine war, that has already opened a lot of eye-opener for us. In the previous class, I told you, whenever there is a crisis around the world, you will see there is also the head of states getting changed. If you see the Arab Spring that happened in 2010, right? That time we have seen it started in Tunisia, it went through Egypt, it went through Libya, it went to Bahrain, it went to Saudi Arabia, and numerous other countries there. So a lot of head of states were changed. In Tunisia, it was changed. Libya it was changed. Gaddafi was changed. Then in Egypt, Musharraf, head of state, he was also removed. Right. So similarly, now with this crisis that is happening in Europe, right? You have already seen that Boris Johnson has already resigned. In Italy, already the prime minister already has resigned, right? So more other countries in Europe will also face this kind of challenges. Whereas if you see in the Middle East, right, there are basically energy, the crude prices has gone up. So a lot of investment is happening. They are already started a lot of IT work, right? In fact, in last 2 months, 3 times I've already flown to Middle East for my meetings, right? Those short-term meetings were there, so I had to go. So you can see a lot of investments, a lot of now IT work, or this thing is happening in those areas. Similarly, now in case of what is happening now, this is kind of a seasonal product or whatever it is, the global market is also. Now, since there is a major crisis that is happening in Europe, you will find a lot of opportunities maybe coming from different part of the world. And you need to gear up yourself to get those opportunities also, right? Next is, if you see what has happened in case of Germany. Just before the war, I mentioned to you, Nord Stream 2, they did not wanted to acknowledge that, and they did not basically, which was the gas that was supposed to come to Germany, they did not wanted it. In case of Nord Stream 1, where basically they get the gas supply from Russia to Germany. So Germany used to have around 55% of the gas consumption that was coming is to come from Russia. Now, of course, if you were aware, I do not know, basically Russia said due to maintenance, 10 days they stopped their Nord Stream 1. And now they have basically provided, basically said that they are going to provide 20% cut into the Nord Stream 1 gas supply also. In case of Germany, if you see, they try to reduce the Russian gas from 55 to 35%, but 35% itself is a big amount. And these are major investments that need to be done in oil and gas to store those gas also. And it is winter time, right? In Europe, you need basically heating to be done. Otherwise, you cannot survive. It's not like in Bangalore or in part of Karnataka that without heating, you may not understand the importance of heating because it's very, very cold. It goes to the minus temperature. All around is snow. So you need heating. You need basically heaters to be on in your room. Otherwise, you will not be able to survive. Now, if you don't get gas, what will happen? It will be a big, big effect on those economies. Already, one of the biggest chemical producer in Germany has stated that they are going to curtail their production because Germany has now said they wanted to reduce around 15% of their basically energy consumptions. Now, if you want to do that, right, what will happen? Whatever the current consumptions, if you want to reduce, it will affect already the human life and also the industries. Now, some of the cities, maybe if you see the newspaper 1 or 2 days, you will find that some of the cities is going dark. And Europe and USA, people never think of power cuts, right? So maybe it's basically like a history thing to them. So they always get 24/7 water and power. And the water is so good that they don't have basically any drinking water. Generally, when I go there, I always use the tap water that is provided as a drinking water. Right? So that is how their economy is like that. Now, what is happening in this global economy? For example, if you see a few years back, when Greece was in a problematic situation or Spain was in a problematic situation financially because they have taken too much of loan and they were on the verge of bankruptcy, right? Germany said that it is basically they have taken too much of loan and I will not support them, let them be out of the European Union. Now, when Germany said that all the Europe, let have a basically energy consumption, let us reduce by 15%, those countries already is saying that, no, we don't agree with you, right? Spain basically do not require Russian gas because they have already taken gas from the Africa. So the energy requirement does not come from Russia. So they say, I do not agree with you and we can only go by 7%. Maybe in case of Ireland or some other countries in Europe, they say, I don't agree with you, because if I do that, we will go into recession and we will into big problem for us. Similarly, other countries, if you see the Italy, Spain, Greece, and some other countries. In fact, Hungary is absolutely against this reduction of 15%. So what is happening inside the European Union itself, there is a lot of issues started building up, right? So this is also is going to affect. Again, you can see last time I told you multiple countries head of state will go down. Already you have seen 2 of the head of state, UK and also Italy head of state has resigned. Some more will be also be coming up. Now, already if you see what is happening in Europe, the recession is going to set up and the winter going to be very, very bitter, because if you do not have the energy, right, then you will have a problem. You cannot heat your home in the winter and you will not be able to live a basically peaceful life during the winter. And if there is basically turmoil that is social and economical, and some of the industries has to basically reduce their production, and that will affect those companies. And then already the jobs will get affected. Already in Europe, maybe you're not aware, 20% is the unemployment rate, right? It's very, very high. In case of Spain, it is around 40%. So you can understand what is happening around there. So the market that is going to open up maybe in some other part of the world, maybe as I told you, maybe in the Middle East or some other parts of the world, it may open up. Similarly, now if you see who the world has got the biggest reservoir of gas, it is Russia. Next is one, it is basically Iran, right? Now, if you see the head of state Putin had gone to Iran and they have signed a pact of $40 billion. And with that, Iran and Russia is basically combined together. So the Europe will have faced difficulty in getting the gas. Next is that what they're going to do, there is a huge investment they're doing that will be basically, that is coming in Bahrain, near Bahrain, that is called the South Parts, that has got the world's biggest reserve of gas. And where also it will be the Russia and Iran going to build the pipeline and going to extract it. So as you can see, there is a geopolitics, basically dimension that is coming in all of our life that will be coming up. But that will soon and open us a huge opportunity for us also. As you know, innovation is the mother of all kind of provide services, and innovation is the only way to take us forward. So with this, a lot of investment also going to come up into the different part of the world. In India, for example, you can see the green energy that is coming up and huge investment that is happening, right? Maybe if you are from Andhra Pradesh, you will be knowing that already there's an enormous, one of the world's biggest investment on the green energy that they're planning. Already the first phase is around $3 billion, where they're going to have basically the starting with hydrogen and then basically wind power, solar power, they're going to build up. So as you can see, there will be a lot of scope that is going to come up, and all those things will all require IT, right? And everything will require basically the smart systems. And smart system is what? That is basically using the machine learning, using the artificial intelligence and IoT, right? For example, in Saudi Arabia, they are building a new smart city called the Neom City. So where basically this kind of smart cities also are going to plan around the world, right? Where actually this kind of a changing environment will provide you a lot of opportunities to you also. Any question? Hello, students.
No, sir.
See, these are the things you have to understand where basically the market is going, right? If some of you want to be an entrepreneur or somebody you want to see a new areas to work, right? So this is going to open up a new basically areas where you can basically, again, the sky is not even the limit, right? So as you can see, there are so many things that is coming up and that changes is happening, right? So this is some of the kind of a geopolitics you need to also understand, and where the scope or where the opportunities are going to come up in your life also. So what you understand now? So in case of this, there has to be a lot of flexibility. So in your life also, you need to have flexibility. And in case of this, smart city patterns, what is happening? It provides a lot of flexibility to the customers, right? And how this is done using the big data and use of the common IoT network for both services, right? What happens? It creates a digital action based on the behaviors of the people when they're leaving the parking lot, or when the people or car is approaching that area, automatically the street lights are switched on, right? Or if it is daytime, or no light is required, or if it is basically twilight, maybe a dim light is also can help them. And that all, everything saves energy and energy cost. If you don't have a question, let me go to China now. This is in case of China, right? Have you anybody have gone to China? You will find in China, the big cities or this thing, all are connected with basically gas pipelines. They don't use LPG cylinders like us. Okay. So, and this is one of the case studies I want to talk through and walk you through. Is case of a province called Shenzhen, where they have already had basically made more than 40,000 kilometers of new gas pipeline and connecting around 470 million of people. That is almost 47 crores of people, right? Now, using this kind of a water and gas pipeline, so if you see multiple, like for example, if you take the water that goes to the home or the electricity that comes to your home, you need to have proper metering, right? If you don't have a proper metering, how much of gas consumption you are doing, nobody will be able to tell, and then you will have a wrong billing that will be coming to you. Now in Bangalore itself also, there are a lot of gas pipelines. Basically now they are planning to have, in fact, the new apartments that are coming up, they're planning to have the gas pipeline. So Indian companies like GAIL, IOCL, Bharat Gas, so all are planning basically to implement, just give you an example, multiple such gas pipelines, and that will connect you to your home and to the industries also, right? So this is basically now relevant to India also, because India also wants to go towards basically kind of a huge network of gas pipelines, and which will enable basically to get the people and the industry into the gas, LNG or the gas, so that India became less dependent on basically crude oil, which need to import it. Now, getting all those things, you need smart metering, right? Again, IoT coming into place. Yes or no? Hello, students.
Sir.
Yes, sir. Again.
Yes,
You
sir.
can, you can see how important, right? What we are learning, what you are learning, right? And it's globally how important it is, and where you can play an enormous role, right? So it is for you, you can see sky is not even the limit, right? So many areas one can think through, there are opportunities is going to come up. So let me walk you through this basically case study, so that you can understand how basically this, how they have got benefited using the IoT. Okay. Now, what they were facing many issues, right? Like ability of the company to get good quality of services in the past, because as I told you, if you do not have a proper metering system, if, for example, 1 month you get 1,000 rupees electricity bill, another month you get 10,000 rupees electricity bill, another month you get only 100 rupees, will you rely on that company? If an option comes to you, will go and switch to another company, right? Electricity company. Yes or no? Hello, student.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Right? So service is a very, very key important thing, right? Then if the proper infrastructure is not managed, and there is gas availability or power availability, electricity is not available all the time, right? Or there is multiple times there is a breakdown. you will also not be happy, because ultimately, for example, if we need to have this classroom online, you need power, right? So that I can talk to you and you can listen. Without the internet and without the power, it will not work, right? So both telecom provider and also the electricity company has to give us 24/7 support or service. Otherwise, it will not work. Yes or no?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Right? So also what happens if there are multiple breakdowns, multiple failures happens, the cost of the operation goes up. Now, if we have got a preventive maintenance, right, using the IoT, using the machine learning, using basically when we can prevent those basically the breakdowns, right? We can do those properly. Then those will also there will not be a maintenance breakdown, and automatically it will run smoothly, right? One is there. Next is that if we have got a proper metering system, that basically each and every house, it may be in the hilltop, it can be some metering can be on the lower basement, some can be on the any part of the building, right? If you have got a smart metering and you can check that all the inputs in that metering is coming correctly to your basically office, whether like for this, in this case, the company which is providing gas or the electricity, right, or the water. Now it comes to their office directly, and then they can monitor. Then they can provide a correct bill to the consumers. Otherwise, what will happen? They cannot provide. Or if there is any problem into those machines or the sensors, it can automatically tell this is the sensors not working correctly. The field people can go and rectify those. And what will happen? Then it will be a smooth, basically, information will come into their main company or main basically where from there monitoring all the sensors, right? So this is what is one of the most important and critical thing one need to look into, because we are all into the service industries, right? If they cannot provide proper services and there is an option, people will switch. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So what it does, it has got a large fleet of existing gas meters, which are installed on a variety of hard to reach locations, such as indoors and underground, meaning of the existing communication network have struggled to maintain connectivity with all meters. As I was telling you, right? The meter success rate is low. The data transmission are so far unstable, for the power consumption was too high. So these were all the basic problems they were having, right? And with this proper IoT sensors and smart metering, what they can do, they can enable proper flow of the data to the monitoring side, and also with less consumption of power. So this is where the IoT comes into and plays an important role. Whether it is underground, basement, anywhere, and so that proper signal and this thing can be, they can check, and with this, they can enable and provide proper service to the customers, right? So using this IoT, what happens? There is a reliability on the transmission, right? And also, what happened? It provides a high quality of service, right? And also, the information can be sent at the right time and are reliable and at a regularly and without any break, right? And the whole system is stable. And next is that if you use this kind of a sensors, you can standardize the overall operational process also. And then what happens if you are happy with your company, the provider, you will also increase your consumption, and the company will get benefited, is that their revenue will also go up, right? And there will be less maintenance cost that will be required. So now I'm coming to another case study. So this is in Croatia. I'm just giving you around the world how important it is and how basically different. I hope this is interesting to you. Any question? Hello, student?
No, sir. No, sir.
Now, as you know, basically, one of the most important and critical thing to live is basically we need to breathe air, right? And if the air is a lot of pollution is there in the air, or if you if you have gone to the Delhi during those days when basically they had to shut down the schools, there have already offices also where they were asking people to come very less because of the pollution, right? And also people were feeling very health wise also they're suffering like anything, right? Now if the air quality or the monitoring of the pollution cannot be done, it will create a health issue. Just to give you an example for this is that I went to Beijing once. Now, when I went to Beijing, now, as you know, in China, there are a lot of industries. And if the pollution, maybe they have not maintained it properly. In fact, when I landed there, immediately my colleague came and gave me a mask because it was not able to breathe properly. So I was in hotel, getting a car, going to the office, again into an AC and coming out because the pollution is so high it was. Of course, after that, they have taken a lot of actions to reduce it. So you can understand for a person who is going from India to China in Beijing, and this is kind of a problem I'm facing. And that is going to impact how much of business, right? So also to the health of the people, you cannot come out to the streets properly and have a nice walk around. And some of the gases or some of the, if example, your nitrogen level goes up, it is quite harmful, right, to your health. So similarly, the pollutants, or if it goes up, it is very harmful. So in Croatia, what they have done, they have created basically a app to monitor basically the sensors, through sensors, the quality of the air, so that they can take proper action if it is not as per that limit. Understood? Any question?
No, sir.
So you can understand how important it is basically to IoT plays in around the world. Maybe you were thinking IoT is only a mobile phone or this and that. It is not like that. IoT or this thing, that's why it's billions and billions of sensors are getting up every day. Why it's happening like that, right? So it is told that by 2030, right, it will be more than 80 billion basically sensors will be around, so more than the population by 10 times. So with this growth, what is happening? Also, there will be enormous amount of data will be there, right? And also that need to be properly analyzed. And after analyze, what we need to do? We need to use our artificial intelligence to do it also proactively, whatever things to be required. So as you can see, there is enormous scope that is coming up into the IT field. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So coming to the new initiative that has been developed to new IoT powered and air quality sensors, as I told you, which allow these sensors to be installed in many more locations while keeping the installation and operating cost low, so that they can monitor the quality of the air, right? Of course, they can use using the local telecom or Wi-Fi or whatever and send it to the monitoring center. And then going to analyze, and maybe using the big data, they can find it out which are the areas or the location that need proper action need to be done. Okay. Now, so they can of course do it at a real time, and so the user experience of the people will be high. And this basically also helps into the tourism industry. The tourists also will want to see is that whether the country they're going or this thing, the air pollution is properly maintained, so they will not have any health hazards on this thing, right? So it is basically, there are a lot of other things, bioproducts of helping this kind of a thing will be available to the customers or to the different kind of people, right? So that is why don't think only that it is only for the health thing that this monitoring will help, or they're just doing for the purpose of those own people. It is also done for multiple other areas. As I told you, one example is tourism. Now I go to a Taipei. Taipei, as you know, is a small, basically, island near China, right? On basically the eastern part of China. Taipei is there, Taiwan, what we call. And if you are aware of, I do not know, the semiconductors, they are the king of semiconductors. Around maybe 60% of the global semiconductors, they are basically managing, right? So they are the powerhouse. And they are very, very strong in IT and IoT, right? So this is a new innovative idea. They thought a lot of people has got their house where basically they have car parking space because they're in the main cities, car parking is a major issue. So they created an app. Using that app, they can tell which are the people homes the car is not there and there is availability in their garage, or you can keep the car. And automatically the people who want to going to that area can see that there's some availability of car parking and they can park the car, right? Maybe you are thinking car parking and this thing, why it is so much important. If you are in Singapore, right, to own a car is easy. To park a car is difficult because you have to pay a huge amount. Okay. So if you do not have a car parking, you cannot go and keep it in the streets. You have to pay a huge amount. And also in Singapore, when I used to travel, there are certain areas depending on the time zone. For example, if you are the city centers, your toll charges are very, very high, right? So like in India, we have got the fast track now. So you don't have to pay anything. It will automatically go and basically what will happen? It will reduce from your bank account, right? Or the wallet. But similarly, in your car, like a fast track in Singapore, they will be having those barcodes. And whenever they're passing those areas, automatically the charges happens. Now, that is why people prefer during the office hours, those basically the city centers to go in basically in either bus or metro train rather than taking their own car. Because if they take their own car, of course, they have to know that they have to pay a good amount of tax, toll tax, right? So I'm just giving you an example because if you travel around the world, you need to know what is happening. And so that you are aware, and all of those, as you can understand, is based on the what? IoT. Yes or no? The sensors are there, getting the information collected, and then what is happening? It is deducting from your wallet, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right? So here what is happening? So this they have created. So similar, you can getting some idea. See, it is not that everybody you have to basically when you're working, you can have basically ideas that out of the box thinking you can do. Or if you are an entrepreneur, you can think of something new ideas that will give you basically a lot of potential of earning money, right? So this is basically some of the things you need to know. Now with this app, what they can do, they can check the areas where there is availability of car parking space, right? And they go and park that. Now coming to this, if anybody comes and there is availability to go and park, what will happen? There again will be big rush. So what happens is that they create kind of a small pillars, right? Now in front of the where the car parking garage. So it will be up once you pay the amount and the census checks that you have paid the amount with the car number and this thing, it comes down and then it allows the car to park there. Again, the pillars goes up, right? So you can see it's not only the availability of the parking space, it is also smartly they have done to protect that nobody comes and park the car, right? If they have not paid it. See, when I was in basically in Cambridge, University of Cambridge, there you cannot have any car within the basically whole campus. And campus means a huge. There are 33 colleges. And these 33 colleges is called the University of Cambridge. It's not one college, okay? And it is a huge area. And inside that, you cannot bring any car. Only thing you can do is cycling. But of course, there are certain basically buses or this thing into the market that they can go or car. But they have done is that they put like this kind of a pillars in the room inside in the middle of the road, so that people who are not from that place or the government buses which only can travel there, if it is not like that, they cannot go inside the campus. Are you with me? So this is how they wanted to protect the whole area. Now you can understand this all are using smart IoT, and this is how they want to basically make the life of the people more congenial, right? So any question?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
So you can see around the world, there's so many basically use cases. This is a few small examples I'm giving, which are very interesting, but of course there are more. Now, what I want to do is that you've been basically hearing of so many things of the what are the IoT and this thing, but what is 2022 bringing, right? Let us hear from some of the people around the world what they're talking about, right? And this is the YouTube video I'm going to play for you. And please, if you do not able to hear, please let me know. This is basically what are the trends in IoT or AI that is coming in now. Okay. And let me know if you're not able to hear me, please let me know. Okay. And I'm not able to read your chat because if you have anything, please speak and please let me know. Hello, just 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. I'm facing some problem. Just give me 1 minute. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just give me 1 minute. I think just give me 1 minute. Yeah. Let me share my screen. And again, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So let me just make it. And let me know. Are you able to hear?
It's not audible,
Are you able to hear?
No,
Hello?
sir.
Okay, so can you, last time you helped me, can you please tell me where I have to, hello?
Yes, sir.
Can you please help me where I have to,
To enable the
yeah, the speakers.
sound, no, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Audio
So you'll
setting?
have to yes, so you'll have to go to main settings to the Zoom call, and left side you'll get a share button.
I have to go to audio setting or where?
Audio settings only, sir.
Audio setting and use the separate audio device to where I have to do.
Yes, sir. There.
Where? This one?
Yes, sir.
This one, this tick, right? Excuse me. Which one I have to tick?
Sir,
Hello?
the same audio which you tried to enable, sir. Yes, sir. Please enable that.
Yeah, okay. Let me see. Please let me know.
Sure, sir.
Are you able to hear?
No, sir, not yet.
Should I use this one? Are you able to hear?
Yes, sir, we are able to hear you, sir.
And also video, right? You can see the video, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we can.
Sir, it's not audible, sir.
I hope you are able to hear, right? And see the video. Hello?
No, sir.
Sir,
we
not
can't.
audible now, sir.
The video is not audible?
No, sir.
Were you able to hear the video?
Before, yeah, previously we were, but now
No,
it's not audible.
I just closed it. Okay, please.
No, sir.
Pardon? Are you able to hear?
No, sir, not yet.
Not
Video
yet.
is playing, but not able to hear the
No,
audio.
then we need to, which one? Let me just try.
You can on the subtitle.
Yeah, which one? Which one?
That CC mark.
Which one?
Sir, in your right hand screen, sir, to the bottom most, the CC option.
CC, yeah, I can see. Yes.
Please
Let
check
me,
that.
just 1 minute. Bottom CC option is gone. Where is this one? CC?
Yes, sir.
1 minute. Let me. Oh, 1 minute. No, the CC is not.
Oh, sorry, sir. Just then give me a second, sir. Ashweta, can you try to enable or reshare again?
Yes, Saujanya, I'll just, I think you'll have to go to view options and in there,
Where is the view option? Okay, let me go to the.
Sure. And there you'll find sounds on, sir. I think,
Where I have to go to more?
yeah, yes, sir. More right.
Let me close this. Where I have to go? Let me go to this thing. Okay, so where I have to go? If you tell me.
Sir, in the Zoom link, I think view
But-
options you'll have. There,
Zoom link. Let me go to the
Yes.
Zoom
yeah,
link.
Zoom meeting control, sir. There you will have sounds on.
Yeah, 1 minute, wait.
Okay, sir.
Wait, sorry, I'm to Zoom. 1 minute. Where is Zoom? This is the Zoom control, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Meeting control.
Then where I have to go?
And there, I'm not able to see that, sir. There you'll have something called sounds on.
Okay, let me rejoin and find it out.
Okay, sir.
There is basically
Sir.
share sound.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Just check if it is working or not.
Okay.
So I click on the
Yes, sir.
share sound. If it is not working, then again I will rejoin.
Okay, sir.
Just check.
Communication
Just check.
and software will be skills that
Yeah,
are
they
needed in
will.
pretty much every single industry out there. Manufacturing, construction,
Are you able to hear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
and service industries will be
So let's start.
I did not see that coming.
that are needed in pretty much every single industry out there. Manufacturing, construction, and service industries will be on a constant search for new internet-based mechanisms to incorporate into their product in order to gain an edge in the market. The tech geeks will become the ones helping operate our entire environment. The internet
MongoDB is fast becoming an industry trend.
So 1 minute.
And is gaining popularity for its powerful query.
Okay.
Internet of Things will actually include almost all of the things.
Internet, so helpful.
Number 2, artificial intelligence.
I hope you're able
Google
to see.
studies our behavior. Facebook learns our preferences.
I hope you can both see and hear the video, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So these are basically the 14 trends that are coming into our IoT or AI that has been talked about, right? So just watch this and then again we will discuss.
We ask Siri to find us near places to eat, and we let Amazon guide us through the vast aisles of the digital market. Ever since the machines began acquiring knowledge of their own, they have taken huge leaps towards developing a real humanly consciousness. Today, we're on the verge of an era where we will move around in self-driving cars, work alongside robots, and read books or listen to music that was created by a machine. Some of us are actually doing some of these things already.
Alexa, can you pour me a cup of water? Watch.
The field of artificial intelligence in the coming decades will become one of the most vibrant arenas for endless experimentation. Also, as everything becomes connected thanks to the Internet of Things, more and more data related to our behavior will be collected, and the machines will have infinitely more material to learn from. Don't forget that artificial intelligence is not only a field that is exclusive to the computer scientists. We're talking about creating brains like ours, and potentially ones that will even be way more powerful than ours. They will live with, talk to, and affect us. That makes the field as much a field of interest for computer scientists as it is for psychologists, philosophers, politicians, and managers. There will be people to create it, others to observe it, and ones to decide how we will live with it. Number 3, cybersecurity. We've already talked about 2 industries that will make our entire existence more and more dependent on computer systems. With that will come more vulnerability to cyber attacks. Hackers are already able to access bank accounts, steal classified state information, freeze entire companies completely, and get their hands on our personal information. Without proper cybersecurity systems, though, they will soon have potential access to everything connected to the internet, which will be almost everything around us, from our houses to our cars to the medical equipment at hospitals. That's why the cybersecurity industry is our only hope for any real security in the future, and so it will grow all the more important as more things in our daily lives get connected. This industry is our main safeguard against humanity's future dreams turning into real nightmares. Number 4, genomics. 15 years ago, exactly in 2003, the US founded Human Genome Project, which had begun in 1990, was.
So you can see the new trends that are coming up, right? And which you may not have thought of. And these are the future trends that are going to come up. Just to give you an examples.
Finally capable of sequencing and mapping the human genetic code. This project cost $3 billion. If things had stayed at that cost, the industry wouldn't carry much hope since not many people would have been willing to enter into something that expensive. But today, sequencing a genome can cost just around $1,000. Today, the field of genomics is at its highest level of vigor, with players like Bill Gates and Google jumping on its bandwagon with billions of dollars in investments. With the research being more facilitated, genomics is expanded to completely transform our understanding of the human body's components and our ability to cure and nurture it. Our safeguard against cancer, diabetes, and even our hope to quickly adapt our bodies to the sky-high rates of change in our environments in the decades to come all lie in genomics. That's an industry that is expected to become worth more than $20 billion in 2022. That's only 1 year from now. Number 5, drones. Drone technology is now becoming more and more affordable in the same way.
And if you know, India is going to be one of the major players in the drones now. And just to let you know, in fact, there is a war between Azerbaijan and Armenia, and Turkey's drones played a major role in basically helping the Azerbaijan in defeating the Armenia, right? So Armenia has now come to India for support, and India has already agreed that they are going to support and providing drones. And in India, there are going to be major players who are already working on the drones. So next, basically a major industry you will find drones are going to be coming up. And there also a lot of you can get good opportunities to work.
We just mentioned with genomics. In the near past, there were times when drones were only novelty items that most of us only associated with war and bomb dropping.
The missile was just a precaution.
Today, drones are already becoming central to everyday non-military tasks like photography, journalism, and like Amazon's use of them for delivery. The future is all for drones though, and they will become used in everything from agriculture to delivering emergency aid for victims of heart attacks. As they keep on gaining some intelligence of their own as they already are, it won't be long before law enforcement agencies start using them for patrol and let these flying hawks identify the bad guys. There's literally no limit to the potential drone applications. Number 6, robotics. For several years now, more and more warehouses and manufacturing plants have been including robots in their workforce. Now we have Sophia, the Saudi Arabian humanoid that was the first robot to acquire a national citizenship. And there are robots that are entertaining the seniors in retirement homes in Japan. Very soon, we'll be having robots as our friends, co-workers, and in-house assistants.
Blood on my mat. Handle it.
That's why we now have robot relationship researchers to decide what set of rules will shape our interactions with robots. Some people might be afraid that robots will one day take over our jobs, but if you're a person working in the vast field of robotics, that's not a fear that you should share. Number 7, virtual reality. Being able to simulate certain situations and environments without the costs and risks of the same experience in real life opens up a goldmine of potential applications that we could or could not imagine at the moment. The technology of VR is already being used by military forces to train their soldiers, people who are taking driver's license tests, as well as in video games. Companies are also using VR to train their employees, like ExxonMobil, who use the technology to train its engineers and field workers on fuel production processes. And that's only the tip of a massive iceberg. Number 8, nanotechnology. There are countless ways in
Become the master of all trades, AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud Platform, and Jack of One.
In which we, as a species, have our hopes hanging on advancements in the fields of nanotechnology. Today, there's extensive research in the field, with the applications ranging from medicine to agriculture. The possibilities are being studied regarding how we can use nanotechnology to speed up bone cell growth, the detection of cancer cells, creating self-cleaning surfaces, and implementing healthier and more efficient irrigation methods.
So, in fact, nanotechnology is another area, right? We see huge potential on this, right? So, as I told you, there are so many new trends are coming up, and this is what I wanted to tell you. So just go through the video and I'm going to play it again so you can understand.
All of that potential says that the future of nanotechnology is only pointed in one direction: endless advancements.
Where'd that come from?
It's nanotech. You like it?
Number 9, renewable energy. For several years, a growing number of people are getting into an ever-inflating state of existential panic because of the climate change that is taking place as a result of our 2 centuries-long use of fossil fuels as our primary source of energy. With more people coming to realize the magnitude of the global warming threat, governments, companies, and private individuals are taking steps towards depending on renewable sources of energy, like solar and wind. The Internet of Things boom is set to further help these plans materialize by facilitating private power supply networks. According to some estimates, renewable energy is expected to fulfill almost 100% of the power supply needed to run the world's economy by 2050. Number 10, sharing economy.
Just to talk about the renewable energy, if you are aware, in case of Saudi Arabia, in fact, L&T has won a huge project. And now what is happening, as you know, the solar plates that you have been seeing, right? These panels, these are quite huge area. Now, in the heat, if a human beings goes and try to clean those, right, it will be really, really problematic. So now they've built a lot of sensors, and using the sensors that it basically goes and clean those solar panels. So not only, as you can see from the solar panel, the sensors have been built to get the energy, but also cleaning that also. The sensors has been built, so which will be running on the solar panels and will also be cleaning them also. Just to give you an example, that not only building the renewable energy, we are using the solar panels, but also cleaning and other areas also. There is so much of basically IoT is being used.
We're moving towards a world where we will barely own stuff anymore. We're coming to realize that it's often cheaper and more efficient to rent whatever we can give up on owning.
We're here to serve you with a court-ordered eviction. Okay.
We've been increasingly doing it with car rides as more people are using sharing services like Uber, and the same with real estate renting services like Airbnb. Today, more services are joining that new sharing model, with apps being built on rental services for household equipment, office spaces, and even leisure boats. Thanks to smartphones, more people are connected and thus gaining access to these services on both the provider and consumer sides. Number 11, e-learning. As we shift towards a future more dependent on innovation than on formal college certificates, and where the value of your knowledge is based on what you can create and not what degrees you hold, and finally facilitated by all the technologies we just mentioned, e-learning is definitely the future of education. With more people on the internet than ever before, and with VR technology and artificial intelligence applications expanding into our daily lives, creating more engaging, customizable, and effective learning experiences will make e-learning the primary means of education in the not very far future. Number 12, big data. You probably noticed that almost every industry we mentioned is dependent on data in one way or another. Data is what artificial intelligence systems learn from, and increasing the efficiency of our economic decisions will be, in the first place, a matter of good data. Whoever is able to acquire data and has the proper methods for analyzing it will be a central player in the future economy. Data scientists are right now becoming essential players in every arena, from marketing to healthcare to politics. Number 13, 3D printing. 3D printing technologies now
In fact, the 3D printing going to be another major area that is going to come up along with the digital twin.
Include all kinds of material, enabling individuals to home manufacture their own spare parts and stationary items, and at the same time, giving companies new alternatives for construction and car manufacturing. This technology is giving us bright visions of a future where manufacturing is democratized. Will it be the end of mass production? Possibly, but that's a bit far-fetched and extra optimistic. What we know is that 3D printing will transform our manufacturing capabilities and costs, and will make us as individuals able to create our own products in our very own homes. It will also cut a large portion of companies' construction and manufacturing costs. All we can be sure of is that 3D printing is the tool of our new industrial era. Number 14, blockchain technology. With the Bitcoin frenzy that has taken over the world's financial markets in the past couple of years, we came to frequently hear the term blockchain. It's the decentralized public ledger mechanism at the heart of cryptocurrencies, but cryptocurrencies are far from its only application. If there is one technology that has the potential to create the decentralized, comprehensive ecosystem that will facilitate all of these other industries we mentioned in a more secure and efficient way, it is definitely blockchain. Based on this technology, there are companies being launched that want to put our finances, research, identity management, and even voting processes on the blockchain. It's basically the new face of the internet, and innovations in this technology will become among the most valuable contributions anyone can make to the future economy.
Okay, students. So now let me go to my slides. Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So from the video, you can make it out. They were so interesting, right? What are the 14 trends that are coming up? There are more, but these are one of the most important things, right? So you have got any question till now?
No, sir.
So should we take maybe a 5 minutes break and then again start? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let us take 5 minutes break and then I will go into the next topic.
Yes,
Okay?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Are you back? Can we start or you want another couple of minutes?
Start, sir.
So till now, any question before I move on to the next topic?
No, sir.
So what you understand from the video? So of course, these are some of the trends, what we foresee. So you can see what you understand. Anybody want to volunteer?
Growing industries of the future, sir.
So when you're speaking, just tell me your name so that I know. So what's your name, please?
Pushpa, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So of course, as you can see, these are the mega trends that are coming up. Of course, for example, as you can see, we are talking about the security. We have talked about artificial intelligence, machine learning that is there. You have seen about the security. The new thing that is coming is the AR, right? The VR, virtual reality, augmented reality. Then it's the blockchain for the security purpose. Of course, we talk about Bitcoins and this thing, but blockchain going to be also in the future for the security purpose. I'll walk you through when my other slides comes up, how it can be also play a very, very critical role and important role, right? Next is, of course, here I'm not talked about the video, talked about the digital twin. I will also walk you through the digital twin and 3D printing. So those are the new trends also that is coming up, which we see an enormous market. Of course, currently what we're talking about, the big data, about basically IoT, machine learning, AI, that is already there. But what are the new things are also coming up? One need to understand and one need to get prepared for them, right? Now, if you don't have any other questions, can I move on to the next slide?
Sir.
Now, very, very interesting thing is the IoT cloud. You're talking about IoT, we are Internet of Things, right? There is an IoT cloud also that is called the cloud computing. Now, that is on-demand availability of your computer system and resources, especially for the data storage. Now, as you can see, if you have so much of your data, for example, you're clicking so many photos, right? The video, WhatsApp you're using, right? So many videos are coming up, or so many pictures. In fact, good morning messages come, so many messages, or any birthday in your group, right? So many birthday greetings, or basically those picture comes, right? Now, if you keep your mobile, what will happen? You cannot have those. Now, you need to keep it somewhere on the cloud, right? So one is the storage. Next is also computing them. Now, whatever you want need to be also provided you at the correct time, and your requirement also need to be fulfilled, right? If you go and search, for example, you want to go, for example, there are certain storage data where they keep it by city-wise, date-wise, or basically year-wise. The data is also stored. So those management is also done. And when you retrieve those data, it becomes very, very easy to retrieve the data, right? So there are basically, this can be, we can talk about how it is done, maybe SaaS, PaaS, or AS. So SaaS is basically software as a service. PaaS is basically platform as a service. IaaS basically infrastructure as a service. So you will going to hear those words. I hope you, how many of you have heard those SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS? Have you heard those, or you're hearing for the first time? Hello, students.
We heard, sir.
So those are basically going to be the how you're going to derive those data, and basically also operation cost. Each has got its own operation cost and requirement of those, or how you're going to derive the data and which you're going to use will determine basically what is the scope of your work and what you want, right? Now, this is basically coming to this, the cloud, IoT cloud, right? The cloud company relies on the sharing the resources to achieve the coherence and typical use of pay as you go, or basically as a service. So these are the multiple services that we talked about, right? It can be either using SaaS, PaaS, or IaaS, depending upon the deployment model, and during the how you want to get that service, you can do it, and which help you in reducing the overall capital expenses and also your operating cost, right? And Because anything you do and implement, see, if you have to have built on your infrastructure, that will be huge cost for you, right? But if somebody is building those infrastructure, only you take it as a service, pay as you go or pay as you use, right? Then what happens? Your cost is minimum, right? So only whatever you require, you use it and you pay for it. So your operation cost is very, very less. And also there are millions of people who are going to use. So as a service provider, they're able to provide it also as a service. Understood? Any question?
No, sir.
Okay. Now coming to this, let me know how to. Okay. A part of it is getting basically this ribbon is coming. So I hope you're able to see the screen, right? The cloud security and privacy concerns. So I think last class also you asked a lot of questions regarding the cloud security. So cloud security is very, very important. And when we have this cloud computing is happening, right? In this case also, you need to have the security need to be provided for this, right? For the cloud computing, the privacy concerns, because it is basically happening on cloud, right? So if the security is not provided, if the identity of the person is not safeguarded, what will happen? Like somebody was saying, given some pictures and this thing, information for the bank, it goes to the other people's hands. If it goes to the wrong people's hands, then everybody can utilize it and misappropriate that. So proper security need to be taken care, whatever the platform you're using. Next is that it should not accidentally delete or changes the data that somebody is. For example, I have stored some data, right? My friend comes and as a fun, he makes some changes on my data. If you got an access, what will happen? Whatever the data I have stored, it is of no use to me, or wrong information is stored, and based on that, if I do any analytics, I'm getting a wrong analytics. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So many cloud providers has to basically make proper arrangement for the security of the data or infrastructure, what they're creating, right? Otherwise, this information will go to the third party, and which may be create a lot of problem for the person who's storing the data, and also can be infringement against the law, right? So government also strictly prohibits this kind of a misappropriation of the data. Now, for example, in Europe, as per the GDPR Act, you need to have your data warehouses or data, this thing has to be in Europe, right? Only certain, if you are working in a pharmaceutical company, right, you cannot have the data transfer from that place to other, for example, other countries. Now, when we work from India, for example, those confidential news, for example, clinical research, right? We are doing a support for that company. Now, anything on that, what happens from India, if a support team need to work, you need to know about all these things, because this is where you are going to be in future, you will be working. And if any question comes in your interview, you are able, now I know you confidently are able to answer. What we do, we will mask the data so that correct information, what is this not there. There are a lot of mechanism and software is also available, and the mask data will be transferred to the offshore, and from where the report development and other thing will be done it. And once it is done, then the program will be moved into the development server, tested into the quality, and then moved into the production. So there will be on-site offshore people, they will be working, and based on that, this will be done. So confidential data will not be moved from those countries to the offshore location. Please understand, you need to know about all those things. So for that, the master data need to be moved, and only the master data, based on that, your programming need to be done. Understood? Any question?
No, sir.
Right. So there are the privacy concerns that need to be done. For example, in case of Germany, right, you cannot have the payroll information outside Germany. What the name of the employees, what they're getting, what the salary, all those things. So payment processing of German company, you cannot do from India. You need to do it from Germany only. Those data will not be sent to India. But certain countries, you can do the processing. For example, if it is not confidential, those data, it can be offshore and you can work. So you can know there are certain restrictions in the data processing also. And these are basically as a since these are all in cloud, one can think this is in cloud anywhere in the world, I can go and get the data, but it is not like that. There are a lot of basically restrictions that are built in, and based on that, this can be used. So next is there are also user can encrypt the data that are processed or stored within the cloud to prevent unauthorized access. Now, there is also talk why I was taking blockchain. Now, as you know, blockchain basically can be used. So that is also thought process going around the world for some of the data that are kept, and who is going to derive that data or get the data using the blockchain methodology, that is distributed ledger methodology. Using that concept, they want to basically get the data, encrypted data, and then basically work on again send the encrypted data into the cloud. So that so there is also quite a bit of work is going on. So where also I see a lot of scope that is coming up. Blockchain is a concept, new concept, and where still the potential of that has not been utilized, right? So where we can see a lot of usage of the blockchain also. So identity management is very, very important. As I told you, like in Facebook or into any social media, you have got an identity, right? So that identity is there. Now, if somebody steals those photos and this thing and make some changes on that and send it to other, right, then it can create a huge problem. Now, for example, I can give you what has happened, what I learned from this thing. A person is having basically LinkedIn profile and the basically Facebook profile. So based on that, all the birth date, all the phone numbers has been kept. And what has happened is that somebody now know where he stays, what is the phone number, everything. Now, based on that, created kind of a security card and was able to misuse that. So as you can see, if somebody tries to steal the identity of some person from the social media and this thing, then it becomes a absolutely nuisance in the world, right? So now you will find some of the case that in Facebook, and there you cannot basically copy the picture. They're already putting those kind of security also, where you cannot download those pictures or download some of the information, and also the mobile number is masked. For example, all the numbers is not there. Now, Government of India has also asked Aadhaar card, all the 12 digit not required, only last 4 digit, mask the first 8 digit, right? So I hope you are able to see this kind of new changes that is coming. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right. So these are basically because of the misuse that has happened already. Now there are basically work is happening to stop those and to prevent those. Now, coming to the machine learning. Before that, any question you're having?
No, sir.
I hope you're finding it interesting. Any question? Is my basically, are you able to understand I'm slow or fast? Or you are okay with my speed?
Sir, we understood what you thought now. Okay, sir. No questions, sir.
Great. Now coming to the machine learning, right? So we have been talking machine learning, machine learning, machine learning. So what is machine learning, right? So you have been talking about deep learning. You're talking about machine learning and artificial intelligence and how it is. So as you can see, deep learning is basically a subset of machine learning, and machine learning is a subset of AI overall, right? So this is how it is basically, and machine learning is subset of all AI techniques, which uses statistical methods to enable machines to improve with experiences, right? And what is artificial intelligence? It is any technique which enables computers to mimic human behavior, right? So nowadays, as you can see, machines are becoming very smart. So what is happening? Using the machine learning, what we are trying to do, we are building artificial intelligence on top of it to make it more smart. And what is deep learning? Deep learning is a subset of machine learning, which makes the computation of multi-layer neural network feasible. So I hope now you have got a better knowledge about the three. Next is machine learning. So excuse me. So in case of machine learning is basically what happens. It is as a part of AI, and it uses the development of the computer system to able to learn and adapt without following the explicit instruction by using the algorithm and statistical models to analyze and draw interfaces from patterns in data. So from what are the patterns, what are the sequences that is happening, based on that, it builds algorithm and logic to enable to use the machine or in a better way, right? So it is an application of artificial intelligence, and it gives devices the ability to learn from the experiences. Please understand, this is most critical thing. Experience and improve their self without doing any coding. For example, when you shop from any website, it shows related search like people who bought also saw this. Where you can see this, if you go to basically Amazon, right? If you buy a mobile, they say that this kind of mobile phone, in fact, this kind of a charger or this kind of a mobile, you you have the basically the case somebody has purchased, so you can enabling you to help you to buy that. Yes or no? So this is what helps you. Or if you go to a shop, right? Now there are big, basically malls where if you walk through one area, automatically you get a message in your mobile phone that this is kind of a discount that is available for this kind of products. How they have got it? Basically, what they have done is that they have scanned your purchasing and also your experience. I think they have got it from your credit card or from the malls. You have gone there and you have purchased those products, right? So they know what you test, what to buy. And then also they calculate basically how many days before you have purchased. And then they basically using the machine learning and AI, they send you the message that since you buy this kind of a product, then this is basically you will be interested and this is the discounts you're going to get. So now you can understand how using the maybe the concept of big data and machine learning and AI, how those information flows to you and which help you also to buying the product at a cheaper rate, because you can get further more discount when you're going into those malls and you know these are things the discount is available. So and also that become more specific to the users, right? So they will not send the data to Mr. X or Mr. Y because Mr. X and Mr. Y have got a different preference or the product. So they are making it more specific to you and addressing the requirement of your requirement. Any question? Now, what does machine learning does? It supports predictive analytics also, right? So machine learning, as it does, is that not, as I told you, based on the experiences or based on the what has happened before, based on that, they can also do a predictive analysis. So they can, for example, in an apartment, you have purchased bulbs, right? Now, using that learning, whenever the bulbs need to be replaced, they can basically tell that this is month, as a predictive analysis, all the bulbs need to be replaced. Otherwise, if you start replacing one by one, your cost will be too much. So maybe the lifespan of the bulb is basically 2 years. So you have, after 2 years, you need to replace, right? So using that, wherever the bulbs are there, and based on that, they can do a predictive analysis and can tell you. Just give you a simple about example, but it can be more and more in case of health, in case of other areas, in case of preventive maintenance, where, as I told you about the transformers or this thing where they do a predictive analysis. It's done in the most of the industries also where they want to do a predictive analysis, because if they do a predictive health check, the cost for the operation comes down much faster, and it will also prevent the breakdowns. Anybody want to give some examples on the machine learning on the predictive maintenance somebody has faced from your experience in day-to-day life? I need a volunteer. If you can give an example. Hello.
Sir, I got your point, but what was that example for, sir?
Anything in your personal life, any machine learning that basically using preventive maintenance that has been done, right? So I just wanted to know from your experience where you have seen some preventive maintenance being used.
Maintenance kind, sir.
Or predictive analytics also, no problem. Give a predictive analytics also where you have seen that.
Okay. A chatbot which works, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. For example, for example, the chatbots, right? So chatbots, what it does also based on the questions they get, right? They can provide you basically answers. And
yes,
generally, if you see
and
the
for the
chatbot,
readily application, which is also available, say with answers.
So just give you basically an example where I've seen that when you type, for example, I want to know the interest rate. So when I want to know the interest, by the time you type the interest, already in the chatbot in-time memory, it has got and fetched what are the interest rates available. So already that is ready. So when you say I want the interest rate, right, in the chat box, immediately it comes. So what it does, when you're typing it, that is also, it is reading what are the things in your mind, right? And based on that, it also provides you kind of an analytics, right? And this is what I need. Or for example, in case of health, right? You have got a predictive analytics they provide based on the pulse rate, which I've given an example. In case of diabetics also, there is diabetic spark that happens, right? So depending upon the morning, evening, and during your amount of exercise or what you are doing, they can provide you a predictive analytics. This is the time your basically diabetic spark will happen, or you need to take an insulin or not. And as I told you, there is also an experiment going on where, like a watch you're wearing, in the watch there will be an insulin basically syringe already attached, so that automatically when your blood sugar level goes up, it automatically infuse insulin in your body, so that you are absolutely safe. So a lot of research are going on this area. So where basically they want to make it human life more friendly and congenial. Next is basically what are the future prediction. As I told you, one is the machines are becoming more and more intelligent, and when the machine becomes more and more intelligent, it is nothing but using our experience into the machine learning, that basically the artificial intelligence is built into it, right? And this is how where you can see the machines are now becoming, or whatever you are seeing around you, it becoming more and more intelligent. So less of human touch is required. So based on this, what is happening, the algorithm and logic is built in, and with that, you are able to get smart systems around you. So some of the systems need to be supervised. Some of the systems do not require to be supervised, because systems which don't require to be supervised, they on their own take basically action based on the artificial intelligence built into it. In case, for example, I will give you another case. Now, anybody of you are investing on stock market or mutual funds? Anybody invest in mutual funds or stock market shares? Okay, so if you have got, maybe in future, if you do it also, you will know there are basically algorithm built in based on the information that is available in the stock, or information available in the market, for example, the government policies. In fact, they build the algorithm and logic, and based on that, they provide the prediction to the investor on how you're going to invest, and which are the stock they think that is going to go up, and so that you can earn more profit. And also, they're going to tell you, so this is basically a potential that would be a rise in these shares, right? So as you can see, there are basically a lot of usage of AI and ML that is happening around the world. Now, if you can think through, now, for example, in India, last 2 days, the stock market was doing pretty well, right? It went almost more than 1,500 points up, the stock market. Now, if the basically this was a system, or based on that, if they predicted that algorithm, and based on that, these are the scripts that will go up. If the investor has invested on them, then they could have made good amount of profit, right? So this is where, as you know, the algorithm and logic, and based on the what is the market situation or scenario is happening, if those are information feed into, and of course, generally the huge basically banking firm or basically the investor, they are already trying to build it. So where on this algorithm, automatically without human touch, that can be done. Because in stock market, what happens in a seconds, the value of those shares goes up and down. Next is that also there are, for example, if you know, there is a national stock exchange and Bombay Stock Exchange in India. Similarly, globally, there is London Stock Exchange and New York Stock Exchange, right? So in German stock exchange, a French stock exchange are there. Like in India, the script may be BSC, that is Bombay Stock Exchange, may be lower, whereas that same script in the National Stock Exchange may be higher. So one can basically buy from the lower stock exchange and sell it to the higher. And if those are also can be found out through basically a system that algorithm can be built in, this is called arbitrage. And based on the arbitrage, one investor can earn good amount of money. So as you can see here, based on this kind of a multiple logic and algorithm that is built in based on the previous understanding of what has happened, using the machine learning, deep learning, one can create multiple systems for also different areas where we can utilize those, right? And may not be only the engineering and industry, it can be stock market or investment also. And based on that, it can be done, right? Now, if you see, tomorrow is basically, as per our government of India, income tax return filing is 31st of July, right? Now, as you know, there are so many people facing problem, right? Because the IT system is very slow. And before, people also was thinking that there will be an extension and this thing, but it's not happening this time. Now, if there was a proper learning and machine learning was there, or basically using the data, if they could have, anyway, who are doing investments, right? If they have the capital gain or other thing information, if they got it captured during the year, right? And put it into the whole system, only then the computation would have been much, much faster. And the whole problem, what we are facing currently is that now manually those needs to be again uploaded into the system, into the whatever the government system, and then you have to compute the tax. Now, doing that, it is taking enormous amount of time. So as you can see in our day-to-day life also, if we can basically help basically the government and also the people of India, there are so many scope and so many opportunities is available with us, right? So these are the learnings. I think you should take it up. And in your future, wherever you work or whatever you do, or if you want to be an entrepreneur also, you can see an enormous opportunity that's going to come to you. And as I told you, sky is not even the limit. So you can see, you will maybe not be thinking on this area also, about the stock market, about the income tax filing, and how about this thing, how we can help the people, right? So these are some of the areas maybe you can think through also and basically work on. For example, the pension funds or some of the mutual funds, they have got basically some kind of a algorithm that I cannot invest more than 5% in this kind of a company. In fact, this kind of a group of companies, or basically if it is an energy company, not more than 10%. So all those algorithm can be built in, all those logic can be built in, and using basically the artificial intelligence or machine learning, right? The rate, basically the percentage of investment into those companies or to those kind of sectors, what we call sectors, like the energy sector or food and industry sector, FMCG sector, right? Or textile sector, whatever it is, I need to do an investment. Now, don't think those monies are less. Those are into billions of dollars. That is hundreds and hundreds of crores of rupees, those are invested. So in fact, for those, proper systems need to be built in, and proper basically algorithm need to be built in, right? And then only basically they can work correctly, because also the government has also provided some lot of restrictions, and one has to follow those restrictions, and based on that, those investments also need to be done. So as you can see, there is a lot of opportunity and scope, and anybody who is interested in those areas also can do a very good basically on those areas, and there is a scope is again enormous, right? So just think through what you want to do, whatever passion you are having, and you can go for it. Maybe also if you want to tell me your passion or this thing, maybe when I come to you basically in the area, or you can tell me, I can also help you, and we can discuss on those areas, which are the industry or sectors you can think through. Because if you have that passion in that area or industry, you will excel like anything. Nobody can stop you. Okay? Any question?
No, sir.
So now I'm going to the another very, very important area, data mining, right? So how many of you heard of data mining? If you've not heard of it, let me read it out for you. Machine learning and data mining often employ the same methods and overlap significantly. But while machine learning focuses on prediction based on the known properties learned from the training data, data mining focuses on the discovery of previously unknown properties in the delta. This is the analysis step of knowledge of discovery in the databases, right? So one is what? Machine learning is on what? What is the difference between data mining and machine learning? Anybody? In machine learning, performance is usually evaluated with respect to the ability to reproduce known knowledge, while in knowledge discovery or data mining, the key task is the discovery of previous unknown knowledge. So what you are seeing, difference between the two? Hello, student. The definition is already there. One is with the known knowledge, another is data mining. You work with the unknown knowledge, right? It's like mining gold, silver, which we do not know. So knowledge is something, or data, what is not known. Using data mining, we get it. So using Celonis or other tools that is available in the market, a lot of data mining is done, and which also helps to provide good analytics and reporting. Right, so this is another area we can see a huge potential, because a lot of data around the world are there, but still, like it's an ocean, right? If you see 3/4 of the world is an ocean, and 3/4 of the world, an ocean, we know very, very less. Everything we talk about land, we got the whole basically resources, these, that we talk about in the land that is available. But do you think how many of those exploration has gone into deep inside the ocean and try to explore the resources? See, resources are scarce, right? So it's a limited. Of course, if you know, Bombay High, basically where India produces maximum, the crude that India gets is basically from the Arabian Sea. That is from the sea, right? It's not from the land. And if you can think, if 3/4 of the world, most of the things is still unexplored, how much of data we can get? Any views on you on this, on data mining? So you can create predictive analytics where the resources are there using data mining, and exploration can be done. Okay, let me take you through another geopolitics discussion. Now, you have heard of Arctic region, right? How many of you heard of Arctic region? I think most of you, right?
Yeah.
In fact, if you know, 40% of the world's energy reserve may come from Arctic, that is deep inside the snow. Again, there will be a huge kind of a global unrest, and that I'm already foreseeing. That basically people want to get that. Now, of course, maximum area is Russia is holding it, but of course, Canada is having other countries, also USA, China is now showing more interest. And huge fishing that is potential is there, right? Now with the snow melting that is already happening, right? Because of the, what is happening? The world has become warmer and warmer, right? Greenhouse effect. So they're going to be a huge investment. It's basically billions and billions of dollars, maybe trillions of dollars investment will be happening there. And already Russia has created the maximum number of fleet for the icebreakers. So that it's now throughout the year, there are icebreakers. So they want to create a passage, and already huge investment is going on. Now, as I told you, energy is scarce. Now, already if you have those area explored, right? Now what will happen? You will try to get energy at cheap cost from that area. Think through another. If you go to the globe, right? The globe is what? It is almost a round. It's not full round. It's basically like an egg. Anyway, so if you can use the Arctic region, what will happen? The distance between the countries will come down. Please check the globe and think the globe in front of you, right? Currently, if somebody has to come from the, for example, Norway or Netherlands, they have to come all the way, right? Using the Suez Canal, come to India, or go to Australia all the way to that. Now, if the Arctic region, the transport can happen, then what happens? The overall transport cost will come down. Amount of time, the goods that we need to send from one country to another country, between, of course, those countries that is relevant, will come down. So to do that, or enabling that, there will be huge investment that going to happen. And to enable those investment, what will happen? There's huge investment, IT is going to come. So business is the driver. And what happens? IT is the enabler. To enable it, we require IT. And to enable the IT, we require IT professionals. So as you can see, it will have a huge amount of scope for all of you that you may not be thinking at this moment. Because to set up basically the whole infrastructure, you need to have the ports, you need to have management of those, you need lot of work in the artificial intelligence, machine learning, right? People will not be able to go there. So you require basically augmented reality to work and help them, right? So in fact, IoT, huge investment of IoT need to be done. So that sitting from here, you can able to monitor those things. So as you can see, there are huge potential of growth that is going to come. And here, you need to also understand that is, if you think only I'm going to work on this area, that area, maybe tomorrow that area is no longer there. It will be coming with another area and where it has got huge potential. And you need to lap into that area to prosper yourself. Okay, any question? Okay, so if you have no question,
No,
talking
sir.
about some approaches, I hope this is basically opening some kind of a new vision for you, right? Because you have to understand what is happening and you need to basically think through, and you have to think what is your passion, right? If whatever passion you are having, you need to work on that, right? And then you can basically do very well in your life. So as I was telling you, machine learning can be divided into broad categories, right? Depending on the nature of the signal and feedback. I was talking about supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learnings. So can you give some examples of it? See, in case of supervised learning, of course, you have a teacher who will help you to supervise you. Or for example, the computer, there is a person who supervises and do the work. Unsupervised learning is basically, it does on its own, find the structure and does it, right? You check on the basically what are the patterns, the algorithm logic, and work on that to meet the what is the end goal or the future requirement from it. Reinforcement learning is a computer program that interacts with the dynamic environment. See, as I told you, world is dynamic, right? So that's why I'm trying to give you some dynamism that is happening around you, which must perform certain goals, right? And based on that, it need to work itself. So give me some example about each of these. Can you give me some example in your day-to-day life? Hello? Can you give me some examples? Maybe
Sir, example of speech recognition.
that is comes
or,
under which one? Supervised
it
learning, unsupervised learning, or reinforcement learning? Maybe this is a task to you, all of you, right? You think through and let me know in the next class if you were not able to.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. So there are some limitations also. Although the machine learning has been transformative in some areas, right? But it often fails to deliver some of the results. Now, for example, it has got some bias, privacy problems, right? Some badly chosen tracks and algorithms, or not properly mathematical calculation algorithms, or the logic that has been provided is not accurate. For example, in 2018, what happened? Again, a self-driven car from Uber could not understand a pedestrian and it ran over it and he was killed, right? So, of course, there is huge cases happening in the global international law. Who will be filed? Whether it's the work company or it is basically the under which country law that will be the case will be filed also. That is another big case. So, of course, coming into this thing, lot of work also need to be legal laws and this thing need to be done. Of course, that is also going on in parallel. Next is maybe regarding the healthcare using the IBM Watson, which also failed to deliver after years of investments and years of basically research and this thing regarding the healthcare prediction of the person. So there are also some kind of bias or some limitation what we can foresee in case of machine learning, right? That's why always human is always required sometimes to enable sometime if they failed, right? Like if you go and use a chatbot, after some time chatbot says this is all we know and if you need more information, please contact our customer care. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right? Because chatbox is limited to the knowledge that has been provided by us. But if you want to go over and above, you ask some question, what is the interest rate? Or if I invest 5 lakhs in 2023, he will not be, chatbot will not be able to tell you, right? Just an example I'm giving. So it has got limitation because whatever the data fed into it, it will be able to only provide that. Or if you say what will be the income tax rate, if I take up a loan of 10 lakhs with the interest of maybe 11% you are giving, but they need to know under which bracket you fall. Only then they can provide you the basically what will be the tax. Then they need to know what are the investment you have done or the income tax basically provisions whether you have taken a home loan or not, whether you're going to use basically interest on home loan, you're going to charge it as take up again. Also there are income tax also. There are two basically rules are following, current rule and the previous rule under which you are going to apply your income tax computation. So there are so many basically ifs and buts are there. If those are not fed into the system, basically the machine or chatbot will not able to provide you the answer. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So there are limitations, right? So don't think that machines will take everything because humans' brains are much, much more powerful, right? Now, bias. A machine learning system trained specially on a current customers may not be able to predict the needs for new customer or groups. As I mentioned to you, some baby has got just for an income tax purpose, I was saying, because I know most of you will be filing income tax maybe now or maybe later on. So you must be knowing. So you will not be able to, until unless we know under which bracket it is, which computation is doing current or the previous one. So there, if he doesn't know, or if it bias only has been filled with the current system of income tax computation, and if the other person is only working on the previous computation rules, right, it will not work. Understood? So when trained on man-made data, the machine learning is likely to pick the constitution or the unconscious bias already presented in society. So whatever has been fed, it will pick only that. Understand? Right?
Yes, sir.
So they cannot make basically decision on or basically bias on what is basically the situation. Right? And next is why to have ML. So machine learning can automate many tasks, right? Machine learning can help in creating models that can process and analyze large amounts of complex data to deliver accurate results. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
These models are precise and scalable and function with less turnaround time. So by building these precise machine learning models, business can leverage profitable opportunities and avoid unknown risk. Right? Business can automate routine tasks. So you don't have to, the routine task you need to do, you do not have to do it. Those things can be automated, right? It helps in automating quickly to create models for data analytics. Various industries depends on vast quantities of data to optimize their operations and make intelligent decisions. So your time to take the decisions, time for analytics, right, comes down, and you can take proper decision based on the information provided by this machine learning, right, or deep learning, and which can help you to make the decision much faster, because it takes into account what are the known consequences or what has happened in the past. Based on that, it will provide you on the learnings, it will provide you the results. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
For example, it provides you that if there is an increase of diesel, then, for example, my transport cost from Shimoga to Bangalore will be more, right? Now, if I go and check, now, for example, if the increase in the diesel increases by 10%, maybe my increase in the freight cost from Shimoga to Bangalore maybe 5%. Just giving an example. So all those algorithms, and there can be also in between, there is a lubricants I need to use after maybe 5,000 kilometers. I need to change my tire after 1 lakh kilometers. So all how many times that your truck going to take a trip from Shimoga to Bangalore, based on that, I can find it in operation cost. So based on that, the businessman can understand, or if you're in analytics, you can understand, if I take this number of trips, I will be having this amount of my operation cost. So how to optimize that, I need to think through, and I can plan for it. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So using the artificial intelligence, it will help me to make some better without human touch. If I can feed the data, then it can provide that you need to take this route, that route, or after this you need to do this or the replacement of the tire, or you need to basically change your oil this time, so to give higher productivity or higher mileage, right? Or basically the breakdown of the truck will not happen if I do a maintenance at this kind of miles. Just giving an example on this. Okay. Next is image recognition, text generation, and other use cases are finding the application in the real world. So already speech recognition, text recognition already been happening, and based on that, we can take proper decision, and that can already help the real world, right? So these are some of the examples. Now, can you, I've been talking, so can you give some examples from your side about the machine learning? You have seen some few examples from your side. Hello. So for example, in an interview, somebody asks you a question, give an example of your machine learning that you have seen in your practical life. So how will you answer that?
Hi, sir.
Yes, tell me.
I'm Vajida from Raichur SS Systems.
Yes, please. Tell me.
One thing I know is face recognition in our mobile devices, sir. How it works, sir? It is through mobile machine learning only, sir.
Excellent. So basically, now I've got a question here, right? That does using your face recognition. It does basically the mobile is done, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, if the sensor is not working, right, or then what will happen? Will your mobile start or mobile will not start?
It will not start, sir. It shows some message, sir, that sensor is not working.
Maybe, I will try to find a use case where basically that is basically got a security problem also using face recognition. Where using the face recognition, of course, you've given a correct answer, but I'm going and digressing a little bit so that others can also understand what are the pros and cons. Each has got pros and each got cons also, right? Using the sensors, it is your data is stored in a sensors, right? And you are using your face recognition using that sensor. So that sensor recognizes your face, and based on that, it opens your mobile phone. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, and your mobile also uses Wi-Fi, right? Yes or no? Now, if it is an open Wi-Fi, somebody hacks into the open Wi-Fi, right? It goes directly to your sensors, then basically get the coding there, right? Get the coding, and based on that coding, change the face recognition, right? Or basically, if it is the security there is labs, basically it can make your face recognition not working or can use any face recognition. Then next time you go and open your mobile, you will not be able to open the mobile. In India, of course, cases are very, very less like that, but there are chances, and using whatever your mobile data it is there, based on that, wherever you use the face recognition, all the data can be retrieved.
We need to give a security to that, no, sir.
No, who are the hackers? They can basically, once they get into your sensor, they can get all the information. So they can breach into that. Is why ethical hacking is done, and to prevent that, that's why if you see in the mobile, it comes that patch upgrade, right? Regularly that comes. Please always do the patch upgrades immediately for the mobile for the security reason. So they also work on that, and anything they find there is a security happening, they will come a message, upgrade the patch. And if you run the patch upgrade, of course, it will somehow try to help you to protect your security. So there are a lot of ways through which basically, as I told you, both has got pros and cons. The thumb print in mobile also, we use thumbprint, right? That is image recognition, right? So,
yes,
so those are basically both pros and cons that is there. Don't worry. So I'm not saying, but just take care of check your mobile and this thing. Of course, if you know the Pegasus software, right? That is another Israeli company. You may not be aware of that also, the software, if it goes into the mobile and can get all the information out without your knowledge. So there are also softwares that has been developed. Of course, those are very, very costly softwares. So there are softwares which are used by the intelligence agency and this thing to get all the inputs out without somebody's knowledge also. Okay, let's not go into the more of cons. Let's talk about this thing. But there are, as you can see, a lot of security areas also, a lot of work that can be done. Okay. Now, I think most of you are learning Python, and Python, why it is most important to AI and machine learning, because it is one of the most area where basically used for AI and ML, right? It's almost like a mandatory language in programming language. That is, and that's why nowadays all the software engineers prefers machine learning and AI to be used Python and for this, right? So, in fact, I think the 5 most important thing for this is basically linear algebra for data analytics, mathematics analytics, right? Probability theory, statistics for machine learning, or multivariate calculus or algorithm, and complex optimization. Those are the things you can use in Python, you can use it. Okay. Now, how does ML work, right? The three major building blocks of a machine learning systems are the model, right? So model is the system which makes the prediction, right? The parameters are the factors which are considered by the model to make predictions. The learners make the adjustment in the parameters and the model to align the predictions with the actual results. Right? So this is how generally the ML work. But if anybody has got another thought process, please let me know. So anybody has got any other thought process? How the ML works? Hello, students. Any other idea from your side? If not, I'm moving to the next slide.
By exploring the data and identifying patterns, maybe like that, sir, it works.
Yep. Using the pattern, using the algorithm. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Right. So I think I've got a slide on
that. Which involves minimal human intervention, sir.
Next is which language is best for ML. So as I told you, Python is the, at this moment is regarded the good language. So I think all of you are learning Python. So that will be really helpful to you and in the machine learning and this thing. So using Python helps the burden, you can reduce the burden with a quick implementation for ML, right? And to validate the idea and the data you're having. And another benefit is using Python is the machine learning. It's a pre-built libraries you are having. So these are some of the major advantage that using Python you can have it. Now, I just want to walk through about the difference between AI and ML. Now, before I go to this slide and explain to you, anybody can give an example. What is the difference you think between AI and ML? Because we are talking so much on AI and ML. Okay, so AI manages more comprehensive issues of automating a system, right? Utilizing the fields such as the cognitive science, image processing, machine learning, neural network, or computerization. On the other hand, ML influences a machine to gain and learn from external environment, right? The external environment could be anything such as external storage devices, sensors, electronic segments, among others. And artificial intelligence enables machines and framework to think and do the task as humans do. That is nothing but mimic the humans, right? And machine learning depends on the inputs provided or queries requested by users. That is basically the knowledge that is known to the system, right? If it is unknown knowledge, that is data mining, right? And machine learning is a subset of AI. Yeah, somebody was saying something. Please tell me.
So AI, according to me, sir, how much I understood, I can tell. According to me, AI uses the computer to think like a human and perform a task on its own. But whereas machine learning is a computer which develops its intelligence, sir.
Yeah, intelligence based on the known facts, right? So, right, so that is basically machine learning does. Like if you got patterns, right, based on the patterns or the sensor information that is available, based on that, it basically provides the algorithm and logic and provide you the information. And AI is basically like some kind of intelligence, and based on that intelligence, right, it helps you to provide like it mimic the humans, right, and provides more comprehensive or how to provide the view on that, and also helps to automate the systems. So these are basically a high-level difference between AI and ML. Now, I think you can see the facial recognition and image recognition. That is one of the application of ML. So you are absolutely correct. I think somebody said, so this is what absolutely you are correct. Okay. You can see I've already got a slide for you. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Right? So this is what I did a predictive analysis that you're going to maybe ask a question like this. Right? So already a slide. So you can have facial recognition, and good example you have given, an image recognition. So as I told you also, based on this, lot of our work, human effort comes down using this. Like if you take LIC, if you old days, you see so much of policies, right? Now the digitalization they have done, they have basically captured all the LIC policies and into a digital form. That is image recognition they have done. And based on that, it helps them if some information or policy number that is required from the library, just easy to pull it up and get the information. Otherwise, it becomes very, very difficult if somebody has to do manually and search the file and get the information. Right? Any question? Hello,
Sir, I
student?
have one doubt, sir.
Yes, tell me.
Sir, I wanted to know how this machine learning will help in forensic investigation, sir. Examples are any of them, if you know.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Now, for example, in case of a facial recognition, right? Now, I get a picture in the face. Now, there is basically, for example, you take an example of Sushant Rajput, who was basically died, right? Now they want to check who are the people entered the apartment, right? Between this time. So there are CCTV cameras. Okay. So what they were going to do, they will use the face and they will try to recognize all the people that has entered there. Or maybe a local area, all the CCTV cameras, they will put it and find the records, right? And then they will try to match basically the facial recognition of basically the person they think they may commit the crime, right? And then if they find those things, they can do. Take another example, like terrorists. We know the picture of the terrorist or the facial they know. Now, for in a stadium, for example, some soccer match is happening or cricket matches, IPL, for example, IPL match is happening in Bangalore. Now, they can use the facial recognition from the control room or police control room, and they can check any of those persons is entering or is nearby or not, right? So that using that, they can prevent any terrorist attack. Next is that using the facial recognition, they can basically also check that if any culprits is around there, they can immediately send message to their team, the police team nearby, so that they can take hold of the situation and grab those convicts, right? So this is going to be a major, as you can see, area where in criminal basically proceedings of facial recognition or thumb impression. Now, for example, in Aadhaar card, you have basically your they have taken your facial and also your thumb impression, right? Now, based on that, the Aadhaar card, this thing, it is in the database. If anybody nearby, they find out that based on the thumb impression of this thing, right, it's passing that area or this thing, they can immediately basically activate the squads or the around that police around that area, so that they can get hold of that person. Now, for example, if you go to outside India, if you go for the visa processing, right, any Schengen countries or UK, right, or any countries, USA, so there will be basically, you have to go there, you have to basically, they will take a thumb impression, they will take your facial photos, facial this thing, and based on that, they will keep into their basically data library. And so when you enter there, immediately when they do immigration check, they will scan not only your passport, they will ask you to basically thumb impression and your facial, and based on that also they will try to recognize. So as you can see, there are a lot of basically areas this is done.
Sir, but for that we need to keep on machine readiness, sir, for every time to monitor on that.
Yes, if you go and I travel so much now, anything, first of all, for a visa also, I have to go when I go for this thing, right? So they have my thumb impression, my photo, I have to go to this thing and I have to give all the things. Then when I go to basically, if you go to the airport, right, the immigration check, they will ask you to put your machines there, you put your thumb impression. Once they find it okay, and then ask me to look into the camera, they will check my retina and this thing, it matches, only then they will stamp my passport. Otherwise, they will not stamp the passport.
No, sir, not that, sir. I understood this point, sir. But you told that we can prevent the terrorist attack, no, sir.
Yes, terrorist attack, how it can be done? Generally using the, for example, the facial recognition. So using the this thing, for example, they will take up area like CCTV camera. They will be roaming around, right? And based on that, they will take the pictures, and then they will try to match. Already you have the picture of the terrorist, right? Then they will try to match the face of that person. Now, if they're able to match that, then they know that that person is there, right? And then automatically they can ask the whoever the nearby police who are there to basically take proper action against that person. So generally what happens, there is a control room, police control room or this thing, where there were maybe feed of hundreds of CCTV cameras that comes there, right? And then they will try to match basically with the face recognition. They have got a list of the people they think they're terrorists or convicts, and then they will try to match whether those are there or not. So there is a separate process through which it is done. And in fact, when I was in Madrid, there was using the augmented reality, where this thing you can basically zero it down to basically like a which are the faces or this thing, and you can find it out what are they doing activities. Like I was telling you also, when you go to the airport or this thing, right? They use basically this kind of using the facial expressions on this thing. They try to find out whether the person is in anxiety or this thing. So based on that, they take proper. They have been trained also. Those kind of operators, they take proper action, right? That if they see this, some kind of an activity or this thing which is not a regular person should do, then they will ask basically him to go for a check or this thing. So those are the basically precautions already are taken care. And those are generally done using the CCTV camera, using the basically the kind of a reaction or recognition, or they have got some kind of the algorithm based on that, they will take proper action. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So this is a very, very field. If anybody of you interested in forensic and this thing, you got enormous scope. You cannot know, because as you know, there are so many terrorist activity, convicts is happening, right? So this also provides a huge scope for all of you, because they are also looking for a lot of number of people with proper knowledge, because as you can understand, identifying them with proper building proper logic, algorithm, facial recognition, thumbs recognition, right? So, or gesture recognition, there is another thing that is happening, gesture recognition also. Then also they also tries to check the pressure or this thing, the heat generated from that body. For example, if a person is a lot of anxiety, what happens? The heat will be more than the other person, an average, right? So if he sees the person, this reaction, a pulse rate will go up because you want to hide something. So based on that also, they take recognition of those things also are taken into care. I'm just giving an example. There are so many parameters that can be set up. This is kind of a pattern. You're absolutely right. Using machine learning, using this pattern, they will try to fill it up, and basically how it can be done, right? And based on that, they can do analytics and the results can come up. Yes, tell me anything, any question? Any more questions?
No, sir.
Okay, so tomorrow, as you know, I want all of you to prepare basically and provide basically your presentation on the assignments I've given. So, and I will basically review those. So please come prepared tomorrow. And if you have got any more questions on that, please let me know, since we have got a few more minutes. So another few minutes is there. If you have got any question on that, please let me know. Or otherwise, I will assume that already you are already on top of it, and I want to hear from you, because today I've only been speaking. A very few of you are basically interactive with me. I want to see how you interact, how you present, because once you go to the office, right, you have to present yourself. You need to have interact with people. You have to create network. Only you can do once you are basically able to present. And still you are learning. It's always good if you don't hesitate and be confident, right? So if anything that need to be improved, I will always try to help you. so that in future when you go, you are always in the top of everybody, right? So that is what I will always want all of you to have, basically all of you to shine, and basically whatever you do, you're top of your area, right? So please let me know if you want any other questions you are having.
Sir, we need to give the assignments in the form of Word file, sir.
In PPT, what is generally we don't do now in PPT. It's a presentation, right? See, in corporate or this thing you work now, we don't do our presentation in Word. We always do in PPT, right? So that is basically the mode we follow. And also keep your camera on tomorrow, because I want to see you also. What you need to do is tell your name, the project assignment you're going to present in PPT, and keep the camera on so that we can review it. Okay? And be confident, don't worry. So this is basically all learning, and I want you to do your best.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, if you don't have any questions, then all the best for tomorrow. Okay, and have a nice Saturday evening.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, tell me, please.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, tell me.
So, actually, I am sorry to say, sir, I have joined 15 minutes late, sir.
No, 15 minutes late, not a problem, because first 15 minutes, I've just walked them through what we have done previously, right? So you have not basically missed anything, but still, if you have got any question.
Sir, that assignment you have allotted, sir, I didn't got, sir.
I think Sweta has forwarded that. In fact, the assignment, what I provided, I can show you and share it to you right away. I think Sweta, you have forwarded to all the team, all the
Yes,
students,
sir.
right?
Yes, sir. The chatbot and the virtual assistant,
yes.
no, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
we have
So
forwarded it to all the center heads, sir.
Yeah. So if you can kindly take it from her, that will be good, right? Or if you want any question on that, please let me know. I can answer it. Not a problem.
We have to do both, sir.
Yes, both. And whichever you are confident, you can tell. But I have given it long time back, na? I think I've given 3 weeks back, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
I want you to do it and come. Okay. Okay. Then see you tomorrow. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all. We'll wind up the sessions. Thank you. Shall we wind up?
Yes, sure.
Yes,
Yes, we can wind up.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.